Hi, I'm Chris James, and you're watching A Healthy Alternative. Today, I have scrambled up the lovely Reggie. She's coming back. We're going to be talking about boosting or building the immune system and how to take care of your immune system during this cold and flu season. We're missing a piece of the puzzle. You start getting healthy and you just become a better person. You need to start focusing more on the individual.
But I don't have the flu.
Well, we don't know. We don't know what you have.
Well, true that. But, blessed that I am. I won't say that I've been really sick. I had a moment of acute time. It was acute for a couple of days. And then after that, it's just been this little nagging little cough.
Well, what was the worst of it?
The worst of it is when I got off a plane. So I was visiting for a sales meeting out in Texas, and I work in sales, in actually hygiene as well. Isn't that ironic?
Yeah.
And you're with people, maybe 300-400 people, 12 hours a day for 4 days straight. And lots of dinners, but yet the dinners were work. It wasn't just relaxing. You know what I mean? And I was off my intermittent fasting schedule, which is another problem. Yeah.
Right.
And so I don't, but the audience may not know that I eat one meal a day. So I'm fasting about 22, 23 hours a day. And in the meetings, I end up eating twice a day. Because it's constant. They're giving food in between the meetings. They're giving snacks. Things you don't even think of. I was like, oh my goodness. And you're smelling it. But I did not give in to the snacking, but I felt that I needed to eat 2 meals a day just so I can be, social enough to, network with my colleagues as well as my, management team.
Right.
So I felt like I had to eat something, not just sit there staring at them.
Yeah.
Right.
That pressure, that social aspect where we eat with our friends, our family, our business partners, there's a lot of pressure there for people who are fasting.
That is so true. And that's fine. I don't mind it now. At the beginning of doing fasting a couple of years ago, I was, pretty paranoid about how to manage this. But now, people really understand who I am, and they know, Reggie doesn't eat. So that's kind of the ongoing thing. Right. And it's kind of funny. So if they saw, for instance, I was eating a pizza. I took a slice of pizza, and this is out, at dinner time. It was like a free evening to just do what you want. And I walked in bringing the pizza slice home because they were food trucks. So we were walking into the hotel, and I run into my boss, and she was like, oh my goodness, take a picture. Reggie's eating a pizza. He's eating junk food. So I thought that was just hilarious. And because yes, I try to be more mindful of eating, more vegetables and fruit and sticking to that plan. I think I lean towards more being a pescatarian with the fish and, and eggs, but eggs is like once a month. And so that's what I was doing. But back to this whole illness that I picked up, I felt it on the plane. And so I'm going on the plane. It's like 3-hour ride back to my home. And all I can feel is that air coming down the back of my neck, and I'm already have a sore throat, and I just felt the fever coming, everything. So the achies,
Yeah.
And I'm not one to get sick. Usually I don't. Maybe it's like once every 2 years I might get a little cold. And that's kind of it, because I really, really believe in home remedies in my kitchen. Things that I can find in the kitchen that I can utilize in my teas. So my thing is I kind of have my little flu bomb drink, I call it,
Yeah.
or cocktail. And most people are probably familiar with it, but there's a lot of people that are not, that just learning about using spices and using food itself, real food, to basically cure you or heal you in some way.
Mm-hmm.
So I just like to share that,
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
what's your mixture, if you don't mind sharing?
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Because I do have a video on my channel about the flu bomb cocktail.
Okay.
um, and everyone has a variance to how they do things with their cocktail. So for me, of course, is warm water, warm to hot,
Mm-hmm.
and you're basically going to drink it down continuously the night before right before you go to bed.
Right.
And so I'm doing the garlic is the number one factor there is garlic, probably like uh, it's about a clove. I mince it and put that in, and then I grate in. That is up to you as well. Probably about a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of ginger.
Okay.
And then I use cayenne pepper. I also squeeze in a full lemon. And then for those, I think if you want a better taste, then you would put in the honey.
Right.
So maybe like a half a teaspoon. I try to be, minimal on the honey, even though it has a lot of elements in there that are great minerals. So, if you need that, there's nothing wrong with utilizing it.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's your tea. And so I would drink that. And usually I feel so much better than right first thing in the morning.
Right.
This time around, it was a little bit harder.
It was a little bit. You might have caught it too late, because like I know I used to have a similar tea or whatever drink. I called it a tonic.
Uh-huh.
Mine was very simple. It was just honey and lemon, and I think that was pretty much it. And I
Uh-huh.
know, like, if I hit it, like, as soon as you feel it coming on, before it really gets you, if you
Right.
drink it before, it would last me 1 day, maybe 3 days tops.
Yes. Yes.
But it just, for me, it was all about timing.
Definitely. No, I agree with you. It is about timing. I didn't catch it early enough, being on the plane. And
Mm,
I knew I was feeling that scratchiness, but I
yeah.
usually just, I avoid that thing because I have allergies too, so
Right.
I'm thinking,
Okay.
I'm draining, or the sinus issue.
Right.
Uh, and of course, I don't have accessibility in the hotel usually, except for the lemon.
Mm,
And so I was doing a lot of lemon, but still. But I really recommend the flu bomb cocktail, or tonic, as you call it.
right.
I've given it to quite a few of my friends here, and that were started complaining. They said, "Oh my goodness, that just did it for me."
Knocked it
I mean,
out.
it knocked it out. So that's one thing.
Super simple way to quickly boost the immune system and knock out a cold.
Absolutely. I have another thing that I do utilize as, the wellness drink, because that's your apple cider vinegar.
Mm,
And I would do that every morning, but I had not been religious in the last few months. And I'm thinking, I don't need it right now. I'm kind of sick of the taste,
right.
but I mean, it's strong, but I think it just depends on my mood. But apple cider vinegar, as you know, has tons of minerals and vitamins, and I just believe traits to not only helping with wellness, but also with helping assisting with weight loss, uh, assisting with curbing the appetite. So it definitely does that. So I would do with that the apple cider vinegar cocktail.
Hmm.
I would do probably 2 splashes from the bottle, and I only use Bragg's. I don't know what you use. Maybe you recommend something, but Bragg's is the one I like with the mother in it.
Yeah, it just has to have mother. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
And then I would squeeze in my lemon again, and I still top it off with a couple dashes of the cayenne pepper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. It's nice, strong little flavor, but like a cool drink. I don't necessarily have to have it cold water. I tend to stick to room temperature water.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that cayenne pepper is a good little additive. You could actually just make pills, like put
Uh-huh.
cayenne pepper in veggie caps. I mean,
Yeah.
cayenne pepper is just, it's good for a lot of different things.
Yes.
I cook with it on a very regular basis. And that for me, that is where I really like to address immunity issues or whatever,
Mhm.
with my cooking. So and this is part of I think this is part of why you kind of experience what you experience. When you're cooking with these herbs, which are
Mhm.
already medicinal in nature, then
Yes.
you're getting these things, like it's kind of preemptive. Like, okay, maybe you're going to get a cold, maybe you're not, but you've got the herbs and things in your system anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Prep, that's a form of prepping, without
Hmm.
even realizing. It's so seamless just to cook with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
delicious too.
Exactly. Exactly. And do you use turmeric?
I do use turmeric. I use turmeric when I'm making my quinoa. I like to
Mm.
put it in my quinoa. And then, of course, obviously, if I'm making any type of curry,
Right.
and then, if I'm feeling froggy, I'll just throw some turmeric in something randomly. But I cook with turmeric. Yeah, I don't do like the smoothies. I know a lot of people put them in their smoothies. I usually
Mhm.
cook with it. I find it. I prefer that.
Yes. No, definitely. That's it. That's it. And I think there's just so much more in food, in whole foods that people can find that are going to keep them healthy. And you know that you preach that, I'm preaching to the choir right here, but on your channel. But at least on my little baby channel, I like to share anything that I come up with or I learn or I've read, um, about what is just helpful to us, because all the stress in life and you're constantly getting bogged down. I know I am in my work as well as caregiving for my mom, so I
Mm,
get really stressed out about family responsibilities. And I know I could wear myself down easily. I would be sick all the time if I
yeah.
wasn't eating properly.
Yep. And we
Yeah.
see that. There's you're one of the women that we view as like the the working woman, right? Like you're very busy, and I see a lot of women in that arena where they work a ton. And of course women are nurturers by nature, and so
Sure.
you take on a lot that men don't take on. So that added stress, it compounds, and you got to take good care of yourself,
You do.
because yeah, they're sick all the time. Typically, I see that all the time.
All the time. Yep. And I was one of those, I was sick all the time. Uh,
Yeah.
Always had that stomach issues going on, always, feeling, constipated or, having inflammation going on. And that's where we keep in our emotions anyway,
Yep.
in our stomach. Right.
Yep.
And I was constantly going to get, and I know I told you about this before, is that I was going to get colonics on a regular, because
Hmm.
I felt I couldn't be normal without it, just to be going. And that was horrible because I spent tons of money doing that. And I'm talking about not months, I'm talking about years that I did it.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
yeah. So, I probably did more damage than, than good in my, thinking about it now. But because I know that we have, again, a home remedy to take care of if you're feeling backed up, and especially when you're stressed, a lot of stress, you may not be flowing properly.
Right.
And so we do our soft flush, and that is the easiest thing. What did that cost? Pennies to get, sea salt or Himalayan salt if you want it. But the sea salt, I find, is just more aggressive if you really want to take care of business properly. So, and do you do soft flushes?
Yeah, I actually I do the Andreas liver and gallbladder flush, which uses Epsom salt. And
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
yeah, so you get a food grade, obviously a food grade Epsom salt, and then you take there's a pure, you get a high quality olive oil, and
Mm.
uh, there's a citrus, it's like grapefruit, and you take that, and that gets you going really, really good. It's
Yeah.
when I very first started talking about immune system and building the immune system, I really focused on the liver, because I think oftentimes we think about white blood cells and lymphatic system, and we kind of neglect the liver, which is like the foundation of this entire system. So
Sure.
yeah,
That
taking
is so
care of
true.
that.
Yeah, the Epsom salt, I actually did a flush with the Epsom salt, and I remember, that's so funny, how ironic, because I was talking to the colon therapist and she suggested it. And she probably didn't want to cut into her money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, but I forgotten that I did that about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I should return back to that, because yeah, it was a no-brainer.
I think
And
the thing, there's a couple reasons why I personally prefer the Epsom salt. Is, first of all, it's really nasty, so it doesn't taste better.
yeah,
But
that's true. That's true.
but I'm using less salt. You just use less salt, and also um, along with that whole liver and gallbladder flush, you're actually flushing out the liver. There's a whole
hmm
protocol, and that's just really important to get the bile production going
Yeah.
strong. That's also really important with keeping your immune system strong, is bile production.
Hmm.
So I think
Yeah.
we neglect the bile production because no one really talks about it. No one really knows what it is or why it's important. And they're so willing to remove your gallbladder, which
Mm.
stores the overflow of bile. It makes you feel like it's not really that important, but it's very important for the immune
Uh,
system.
I totally believe that. And especially with people coming up with all these types of cancers, because we're not focused on the pure full body cleanse.
Mm.
I would imagine, I mean, yes, you have colon cancer, you have these different parts of the colon, types of cancers,
Mm-hmm.
and, the small intestines is so important. And doing a colonic, which I was doing, doesn't get really to your small intestines.
Right.
I mean, the colon is the largest organ in the body. I mean, it's insane how long it would be if you can actually stretch it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
So
yeah.
it's better to go from the top down. Like,
Exactly. Internally flush out.
yeah, because I'm
Yeah.
not against colonics, but like you mentioned, I mean, I think abusing it where you're doing it all the time, not really
Yes.
addressing the core issue is causing you to be backed up in the first place. That's gonna certainly, I think it could be detrimental for sure.
Yes, definitely. No, I think it's okay if you're doing it in short, temporary,
Right.
instance. But yeah, I was abusing it. I was abusing it. And,
The-
I think that salt flush, and these different types of salts that you recommend are perfect to, use at home and be at home. And I think it's very private anyway. And a lot of people are
right.
uncomfortable to go out there and deal with someone who's probably a stranger that is the colon therapist. So,
Yeah. And also, before I forget, I want to say, like, when you're doing these flushes, especially using the salts, hydration is super, super key, because
yeah.
the people think that the salts hydrate you. What they do is they cause you to retain water, but they don't actually hydrate you.
Hydrate.
So you
Right.
have to make sure that you're like eating your water and really doing well with hydrating when you're doing these flushes. It's super important.
Yeah. Yeah. And just like we were talking about the vegetables and the fruit, I mean, that carries that water that basically seals in
Hmm.
the water in your body. So for instance, I love tomatoes and I know I get water from it.
Yeah.
I love watermelon. That's probably one of the best, to really absorb, for the water that you get there.
Yeah.
And doing that on a daily basis on top of drinking your water, I think you're golden.
Yep.
Feel so much better. And I have to be the first to admit, over these few weeks since I was being sick, I probably didn't hydrate myself enough beforehand. Thinking, when you're on a road trip,
Yeah.
you're just out of your routine. And I know I wasn't drinking water properly daily, and also getting the proper salt intake that I usually would get with it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing. And it's funny because when people like ourselves are very consistent, we don't get sick, we're fine. And
Yeah.
it's easy for us to see when we've messed up, because when you're sick all the time, you just think this is life.
That's
But
normal.
right. But like if
Yeah.
I get sick, I know I did something very wrong, and I could usually point to exactly what it was. And then
Yep.
therefore you can rectify that and kind of not put yourself in that situation again. But
So true.
yeah, so I think fasting is huge because one of the reasons why we have issues with our immune system is the energy that it takes to process out the foods and the toxicity in the body. We're using all that energy to digest food, which
Yep.
in your case, your body was used to a minimal amount of food daily. Now here you are doubling the amount that you typically eat, putting
Yeah.
yourself in an environment that's stressful, and it's the perfect storm. And
Yep.
these are the things that cause us to get sick, that allow us to get sick. But we can
Hmm.
completely avoid this stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I work from home, so I'm always, not always, but I'm isolated a lot of the time of my day, besides going out to appointments for, meetings,
Right.
meeting with clients. But that's not every day religiously. I have quite a bit of paperwork to do. But yeah, so being around that massive amount of people every day, yeah, that's totally out of my my regimen, my routine.
Yeah. There's a couple of essential oils. There's a blend that I know, Reggie, you have available. It's
Hmm.
called On Guard, which is
Yes.
which is designed like for the cold and flu season, and it's a proprietary blend of herbs that are specifically designed to help boost the immune system. So
Right. And of course, I didn't have it with me because I would have at least put it on my feet, which is a great way of putting the oils on, right?
yep.
Um, but I certainly do have it, and I've been giving it, diffusing it with my mom because she really, has the breathing issues, and she has a mild form of COPD as well. So this has been helping her, I think, sleep a lot better.
Oh, good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So that's very cool to know.
that's another good point. Rest, right? You mentioned
Yes.
working 12-hour days. I mean, rest is so important. I was talking to one of my friends the other day. And they were like, "Yeah, I've been really sleepy lately." I'm like, "Well, then sleep." You know,
Yes.
like
Hmm.
we have to stop pushing ourselves because we have work and everything else. Because our health really needs to be a priority. And
Yeah.
if it just means that you gotta, I don't know, there's always a way. There's always a way.
Always.
But if you just gotta get more sleep, figure it out so that you can get more rest.
I have to say, I am no good. If I get less than 6.5 hours,
Yeah.
I can't do it. I need 7 to 8 hours, or it's not going to be a productive day, or,
Yeah.
you're just dragging. It's like that 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it hits and you
Mhm.
feel like you need a nap.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't always have a nap because I'm working, but, on a weekend, I feel like I need a nap and I'll take it. But sleep is definitely the most important, especially for us women too. We need more sleep, more than men, I believe. And I think it's because maybe we're more hormonal, and our body requires the sleep. And especially about the look, too. I have the bags under my eyes like right now because I felt like I didn't get enough sleep, because I know it was our daylight savings. I'm not
Mhm.
quite acclimated to it, and
Yeah.
it takes me about a week to feel like, okay, I'm back to normal now. I
Yeah, that,
hate that. I
that
hate
daylight
that.
savings it's shady. It's
Yep.
shady. Like,
Yep.
I found out maybe 2 years ago, every state doesn't do it. I didn't realize
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Like,
Arizona does not do it.
that's so
And I'm like, because I deal with business so much in Arizona, and I'm like, okay, let me check. Are you on the same time with us or not? But this year is going to be. It seems like it's extended a little more in the year, and I know that they can just call it state by state and just say we're not going to do it.
right. Huh.
But why they don't do it, I don't know.
I
You
don't
know.
either. And that is my point. Like, what is going on with that daylight savings? It's just something shady because it's
Mm,
completely pointless, but yet we do it every like why? So
yes.
I wouldn't
Yes.
miss it.
And hey, it's like that thing I always have in the back of my mind. They're trying to throw me off my game. Throw me
Right.
off my game.
Yeah.
People are just dragging.
Yeah.
So, even
Exactly.
my cat's like, you throw me off of my eating game because now you're gonna get up later or earlier, whatever the case is. And yeah, throwing the cat off her eating routine.
Definitely.
Yeah. But no, and so these are great things. I think it's just a little bit of a reminder about what we have already in our house, that we don't have to go out and start buying pills and things like that just to stay well, on top of if you're into fasting. And I think fasting itself alone, you can still, really, really gain with energy levels, and also feeling like, ultimate healthy person that you would be without, doing all these extra supplements as well. It,
Yeah.
I think if people really take the time to do that in fasting, I mean, they're automatically going to be detoxing. They're automatically going to be healing their cells in the body. So I
That's what
think
it's all about.
that combination, right, of the whole foods, combination of utilizing those spices and things in your home will take care of pretty much anything.
Hey, I'm living proof. I used to get a cold twice a year, on the winter solstice and the summer solstice. At
Mm,
least that was, my thing.
yeah.
And that's been completely annihilated since I've changed my diet, started fasting, drinking more water, cooking,
Thank you.
right? Cooking from home.
Yeah.
I don't get sick. It's actually to the point now where I'm like, wait, people still get sick? Like, that's how detached I am. Like, I'm just being honest,
Right. Yeah, no, that's true.
like, I'm so detached. And the thing too, like, my people around me, they don't get sick either, because we're all kind of on the same wavelength. So we're all doing, alterations, whether it's dietary or fasting or whatever. And
Right.
so I'd be genuinely surprised.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And that's why I was so shocked that I got caught like that,
Yeah.
getting sick. And especially the older that we get, and as I try to focus on my age group
Mhm.
on my channel, and give those tips based upon what I do. Because sometimes I wake up and I'm thinking, oh my God, how old am I? And I'm thinking, I remember it so clearly when I was your age, Chris. And I'm thinking that's just like yesterday, mid 30s or something like that, right?
Yeah, I'm something like
So
that.
something like that.
What's your age
And
group, Reggie?
well, I told you before in a past
There's people that
discussion.
ain't seen it.
Oh, I'm wide open about it. Listen, I'm 50 years old. I'll be 51 and oh my, yeah, I guess I'm 50 and a half in 6
Okay.
months. So yeah, no, this is something I'm excited about my age now more than I was when I turned 40. I was really like 40 was really not a big deal,
Yeah.
but 50, people are having all their birthday parties and things, but I'm very much the opposite. I try to go internal
Mm.
and just reassess my life and just spend time alone. If that means just maybe I'll go out and have a bite to eat, because I do eat at home 9 out of 10 times, and
Right.
just something like that to treat myself. But otherwise, I'm not that person that's hey, look at me, I'm 50. But my channel, is kind of morphing in that way of really addressing the over 50 concerns.
Hmm.
And it could be similar to anybody else that's younger, because I do have younger people audience. But I think just relaying some things that I've learned, in my 40s and 30s, I think it's helpful to, remind others that we're not dead yet, and we are really, at the prime, and
That's the
we
prime.
still, I feel like I can do everything that I've been doing as a 30-year-old
You
and
can.
probably better,
Very possible. You look, one thing I found out is as you get older, your bones are supposed to become like stronger. They're not supposed to get brittle like we're typically
Mhm.
seeing. So
Yeah.
you're supposed to get stronger with age, wine, gets better with age.
Better with wine. Yeah.
That whole thing, like, we just have to
I like
change our thinking.
I like it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Change your mindset. I mean, you look at things different, and or you become different just because you look at things different,
Mhm.
instead of, uh, just going by, what the masses are telling us from birth,
Mhm.
and how to be, how to live. And I always say to others, just be you and be different, because we were made different.
Right.
So there's no reason just to follow the masses. It really isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I plan on, continuing to look and feel good for the next 25, 40 years. I want to
Amen.
freeze myself right where I am now. I'm just going to freeze myself. I don't want to be getting the gray, nothing.
There's
And
nothing wrong with gray hair.
no, I
Come
think
on.
gray hair makes you look very distinguished. But okay,
Yes.
so here's my thing about gray hair. I
Mhm.
actually like the look. I always said, man, I think it'd be cool to have that salt and pepper look.
Right.
But I wonder, there has to be a reason why the hair goes gray, and I think that related to not just hereditary or not just genetics, but I think that it
Mhm.
also has something to do with wellness, because I've
Mm.
noticed that I have like little discolored hairs that will pop up on my beard, and I
Right.
notice them more when I don't eat well, and when I reel it back in, they go away.
Isn't
So
that interesting?
it makes me, they're not white, because my friends be like, oh, you got white hair. They just be discolored a little bit.
Yeah. No,
But
I
it,
get that.
it makes
Hmm.
me think that there's something more to it. And so I just want to learn. That's all. I just want to.
Yeah. No, I would love to learn more about that. And, we can talk about that definitely another time. But I can tell you from my own personal experience of gray hair, I probably have 30-35% gray hair
Mm.
now. And of course, I get colored, Mhm.
Oh, that's not your
But
natural color?
no, 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 no.
Reggie,
I gotta get a color.
I'm
Yeah. Oh, are
confused.
you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I am gray.
No, I'm joking.
So when I was in no my first gray hair, I had that streak.
Hmm.
If I had allowed it to come in my 20s.
Hmm.
So I've always been prone to the gray hair, but my father also had that gray streak since he was in his 20s. So I think I inherited that.
Right.
Now, when he passed away and I was his caregiver first, before my mom, they both had strokes 6 months apart of each other. And the gray hair, when he passed away, like 2 weeks after he passed, all of a sudden, this halo of gray just took over the front of my head. It was just
Ah,
craziest thing, right?
see?
And so
Yeah.
you had a good point about, trauma, emotional distress, I
Mhm.
think totally affects your, how much gray hair is coming in. And of
Mhm.
course, I ran to the hairstylist with the quickness because she was
Right.
like, "Oh my goodness, what happened?" But as things subside, this is really, I'm tend to be a redhead anyway. But I just figure get as close you can to it, and that's what we work with. I don't have I don't have a problem with sharing that. There's no secret about that.
No.
And I have girlfriends that are my age that just let the gray go and they
Mhm.
don't dye their hair or anything like that. I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready.
Hey, I mean, hey, I like your look, so keep doing
Oh,
what you're doing.
well, thank you, sir.
Um,
Thank you,
but
sir.
your story reminded me. My mom actually had a similar situation, and this was part of my thinking. She was very, very ill. Didn't realize it.
Mm.
Didn't realize it. Just think she's getting old, and she had her hair went white. It wasn't gray. It went white,
Yep.
and we started fasting her, and I went and literally and threw stuff out of her cabinet, and her black hair started coming back. So
Whoa.
yeah,
Whoa. That's amazing.
yeah. So
Okay.
I
Hmm.
know there's a connection. Like I said, there's certainly things energetically or genetically that play a role for sure.
Sure.
But there's something deeper that I wanted to understand. So yeah,
Well, I'm gonna have to do some research too. So now you got me really thinking about it and see what that's all about. In the
let's figure it out.
meantime, yeah, let's figure it out. Well, I thank you so much for joining me, for discussing this about those home remedies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you, allowing me to have this discussion with you. I was gonna just skip this topic. I wasn't even gonna do it. So you brought
Well,
it
I
out of me.
appreciate you. Yeah.
Yeah, honey.
I appreciate you doing it. But, this is the season of
Yeah,
colds and flus and all that.
yeah,
So why not, and it can go out even further, even into the summer, because I remember last summer, there was quite a lot of people that had these summer colds. And I was like, what is that about? So I
yeah.
find that interesting. Our environment, is changing all the time, and it's getting, you know, more unsafe, in my opinion, with the chemicals floating around there. So we have
Mhm.
to
Yeah,
take care. Yeah, got to be our own advocate, right?
have to be.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Chris.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
If you all enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. For me and Reggie, hit 2 thumbs up.
please do.
And if you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe to A Healthy Alternative. Subscribe to Reggie. Reggie, what's your channel so they know?
Yes, I'm at Reg Edited. So it's REGEDITED. So I'm Reggie, and I'm just editing myself usually because I'm not as smooth as Chris is on live video.
We're going to get it in. We're going to get it.
Thank you. Thank you, my friend.
All right,
Good.
y'all. So the application of knowledge is power, and we'll see you next time.
See you soon, guys.